There's a natural waterway, it's a dry riverbed, that is called a wadi, W-A-D-I.
All right, let's see it.
If you went into that wadi, you would find there are rocks all over the place, but they've all been pushed out of the way to make a path. Somebody pushed all the rocks out of the way to make a path for wagons, apparently.
So absolutely nothing about the state of this wadi indicates that a large group came through and intentionally moved rocks out of the way specifically so that wagons and other vehicles could make their way through. You can look at this wadi on Google Earth. There's nothing unusual about it. What you can tell, however, is that flash flooding has moved around rocks and soil and detritus to make way for the water, because that's what a wadi is. It's a dry riverbed that is occasionally filled with water because of rain runoff and flash floods and things like that. This is all perfectly natural.
At the south end, Ron Wyatt found this pillar. It had fallen down, half in the water. He and his sons dragged it out, scrubbed it off. A lot of it was eroded, but part of it was still readable. And it basically said something to the effect of, this pillar was erected by King Solomon to commemorate the crossing of the Red Sea.
So there are three problems with this claim. The first is that this pillar has never had any inscription whatsoever on it. Ron Wyatt claimed that there was an identical pillar that was found on the other side of the Gulf of Aqaba, and that pillar had an inscription, and then the Saudi Arabian government confiscated it from him. No pictures were ever produced, no transcriptions of any inscriptions were ever produced. It was just made up, and there are two other reasons we know that. One is that this pillar is Roman in origin. It does not date to the time of Solomon. It does not date to within 800 or 900 years of the time of Solomon. Third problem is that the word that is sometimes translated pillar in English translations of the Hebrew Bible is matzavah, or the plural matzavot, which does not mean an architectural pillar like we see here. It means a standing stone, a stele, which is something that is flat on one side, rounded on the other side, is taller than it is wide, and has a flat face that is used for inscriptions and things like that. So the notion that this is a pillar that Solomon set up is laughable on the very face of it, because this has absolutely nothing to do with the type of pillar that would have been set up for commemoration in 1000 BCE.
So they went and did some research. The National Geophysical Data Center in Boulder, Colorado has a map showing the depth of the water, or Eilat deep. It's nearly 5,000 feet deep. The Gulf of Aqaba is incredibly deep water. Where that arrow is, there's a shallow place. It's only 900 feet deep. 900 foot in 8 or 9 miles is a nice gentle slope down and a nice gentle slope up. Easy for wagons. There's an underwater land bridge right there.
So this presenter has either misunderstood or is flatly misrepresenting the data. The deepest the Gulf of Aqaba gets is around 1,800 meters deep, which is around 5,000 feet. The shallowest it gets is 800 or 900 meters deep, not feet deep. And this little crossing is 900 meters deep. And no, there is no way on Earth that if you remove the water, that descent and ascent on the other side would be a comfortable thing for carts and millions of people to do, particularly because they would be in mud and would get immediately stuck. So this is not plausible, this is not probable, this is just an attempt to gin up the tiniest little sliver of not and possible based on misinformation. And here is a map with that Nuweiba beach area and that so-called land bridge. You can pause to check out the depths if you like.
He went out to as deep as they could go, 100 feet or whatever, 150 feet with the scuba equipment, and found all along, as far as they could go, chariot wheels and chariot bodies crumbling badly, poorly conditioned, with no wheels on them. They found horse skeletons and human skeletons crusted over with coral.
So Ron Wyatt found absolutely no such thing whatsoever. No such images were ever shared, no such papers were ever published, no such artifacts were ever removed from that area, and nobody since then has ever been able to discover any such artifacts. What Ron Wyatt did was take some pictures of some coral formations that reminded him of chariot wheels and axles and say, look, these are chariot wheels and axles, and then people later superimposed the images of chariot wheels and axles over top of them to be even more suggestive. And the image that was shown there that is very very light colored, and you can just barely make out what look like the edges of some kind of gold wheel. That is a modern boat steering wheel, and that is just a photo of one that had fallen into some shallow water in the sand. So Ron Wyatt did not find anything remotely approximating the claims made in this video.